Hey all, welcome to the Veteran Health Week. We're here with VGA Harro for Veteran Gaming Australia. We all know that obviously, the actual health spectrums, and being on top of your game and stuff like that, nutrition plays a big part in parcel of, alongside fitness, your rest, recovery, all these other little aspects help you in being on top of your game effectively. So we're thankful for Department of Veterans Affairs allowing us a grant to stream to our wider veteran audience in bringing nutritious recipes to veterans and their families and the wider public, and helping raise awareness of how important nutrition is. Obviously it forms part of that parcel. As I said, all those other little aspects, fitness, rest, recovery, and all those other aspects that fit within it. But nutrition is a big aspect, if you're eating takeaway and all that type of stuff, you're not going to be on top of your game, You can eat takeaway, don't get me wrong, but mix it in with actual healthier, lunches and dinners and stuff like that in between, and limit where you can those takeaways. We know we all get busy with lifestyle schedules, whether it be family, work, TAFE, uni, all those other kind of medical stuff mixed in also. They can make you fatigued, lethargic and all that. Hopefully today it should give you some kind of insight as to different little recipes you can do that are a bit quicker. I know we're all quite busy in lifestyles. I know I'm quite busy also with family, my own health and medical, VGA and all these other aspects alongside of it that make me a bit more limited on my time choices. So I'd still choose healthier recipes that can fit in with that busy lifestyle schedule, and help me be on top of my game also. So we'll run through some recipes and then I'll run through some ingredients after effectively. So ask some questions. I got the chat with my laptop on behind me also, so you might see me go back and forth every now and again to my laptop. But I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Ask some questions as we go through. I'll try to answer them best as I can. But yeah, I'll explain as I'm going through also what I'm doing and why I'm doing it that way. So I hope you enjoy, and make sure you're eating healthy throughout this Veteran Health Week, but throughout the year also. Alright, let's get cracking in. Alright, so today we got our broccoli. So the reason I love broccoli is it is an absolute powerhouse. So it doesn't only have just protein in it, it brings antioxidants. It is pretty much a powerhouse kind of vegetable effectively. So you can make this quite easily itself. It heats up quite nicely, tastes quite nice. I know a lot of kids and stuff like that won't like your broccoli. However, you can actually mix in like other green beans and stuff like that. So if you are cooking for, say, not just yourself, you're cooking for the family, you can mix in the broccoli, you can mix in some green beans. At the moment, I'm just cooking lunch for myself because everyone's obviously at school and at work and stuff like that. However, this is a very easy kind of option that kind of is that powerhouse, as I said. So we'll get cracking in with the actual the broccoli in a minute. The other object that I got today, and let me just close the little chat here quickly. Yeah, the other one we got is obviously a steak also. So the reason I love steak is it's got a lot of protein, and you'll find quite often our intake in the Australian society itself, we're quite low on the iron side. So you see all that stuff about, we love barbecuing, we love all that type of stuff. Meat isn't on the agenda as often, so... But the reason for a steak, obviously, very high in iron. Iron is usually, lacking in a lot of diets out there. The protein is quite large. I believe roughly it sits at about 50 to 52 grams of protein, which is quite a very large serving of protein. Generally almost a lunch and dinner's type serving of protein, but they're the main reasons for a steak also. And the good other thing is air fryer. So I have an air fryer here next to me, which we'll be utilising. What I have done with this steak, you'll see it does have an actual marinade already on it. And what I've done with this marinade, what you can do with steaks effectively is you can pretty much either just get, you don't need a marinade really, but I like it just for that kind of a bit more softer texture throughout it when you're doing it. But what I've made up with this actual marinade itself is 100 mils of soy sauce, 100 ml of balsamic vinegar, and roughly about half a tablespoon, of the seasoning all-purpose. So this is one commonly used by Army defense cooks. So it's a Master Food seasoning all-purpose blend. You will find that inside your Woolworths, Coles. Just look in your herbs aisles effectively. What I do is you can do that in the morning before you go to work and just let those steaks soak effectively. Or you can alternatively, if you don't want to use any kind of marinade on, as I said, you are in that rush, you can just use a seasoning all-purpose blend by itself effectively. So you whack that on, and you know what we're going to be using today is the air fryer itself. As I said, these are easy type recipes. You can cook the steaks in the pan and then put it in the oven also. That is a lot more time consuming. I'm going to be going through is easy recipes effectively. So if you've got an air fryer, you can pick them up usually for about $30 from Kmart. They're a pretty healthy alternative, I dare say, to most other cooking mediums, you know, where you get a pan, you'll throw in a heap of oil and cook it, or, you know, even the oven in some instances, you know, obviously oven food is usually processed and other stuff like that. An air fryer can pretty much cook anything. I won't say anything, it can realistically cook majority of things though. So if you look for recipes on the internet and stuff like that, there's a lot of stuff that goes for an air fryer. So I'm just going to whack this steak. And I'm going to put it at 200 degrees for the time being. And I'll just preheat this quickly. So always preheat your air fryer before throwing in meats and stuff like that. That's something I should have done. You will notice it's a little bit noisy and stuff like that. But the other stuff that I got going on effectively is this all-season purposely, the seasoned all-purpose. Effectively, you can use it as a healthier kind of marinade, I guess, salt effectively, or a kind of rub effectively for your steaks, your chicken, your pork, any type of meat. And it's quite an actual healthy blend in it. You know, it does have minimal kind of, I guess, emulsifiers and other things like that, which can be a little bit bad, but majority is just like paprika, garlic, onion, pepper, celery seeds, coriander seeds, and this mixture in all together, you'll find the smell is absolutely amazing, but the texture when it comes out, it tastes absolutely beautiful. And this works on all cooking levels effectively. So I'll just let that air fryer heat up quickly. Some of the other ingredients that we have today though, effectively, extra virgin olive oil. I'm always a big fan of extra virgin olive oil. It's a bit more kind of healthier. I like cooking with it because of the kind of texture and taste it gives off also. It mixes in quite well. You can just use like canola oil, like a spray and stuff like that also. You know, a vegetable oil. These aren't as healthy in some aspects. Canola oil's, I guess, somewhat healthy, but you know, they're still not the best. What we'll do while we wait for that to heat up, we'll go through, we'll chop up our broccoli, and I'll show you how quickly you get this ready effectively. So I'll just wash my hands because I touched the meat. And hand hygiene is very important throughout your whole cooking effectively, you know. So don't go be touching a meat and then touching your veggies and your salads and stuff like that. Wash your hands with soap in the actual sink there. Make sure your hands are clean each time you touch that meat, or you know, back and forth. So what we're going to do with the broccoli anyway, you want to cut it so it's effectively just at the bottom of the stalk, and this makes it effectively a lot better for cooking, not only just by itself but also in your stir fries and stuff like that. You'll find it's a lot easier to cook. So we'll chop up some of these, and it doesn't take much as long as you've got a sharp knife. You'll split these into their little individual florets. So you split them down into their individual florets. If you see it going a bit loose because you're cutting, say, halfway down the florets, don't worry too much at this stage about that. So where you can, cut down below obviously, so you get a little bit of that stalk effectively where you can. I know a lot of us grew up hating broccoli because we always thought it was a treat. But as you grow up, you start to realise it is one of those kind of powerhouse veggies that literally does have everything going for it. So I know kids kind of hate it, but hopefully once I show you this stuff today with the little mixtures you mix in, it makes it a bit more tastier for them. Still quick and easy. And what we'll do, once we've chopped them up into little florets, we'll cut them in half effectively, and this just makes it easier for cooking. So chop as many as you can into those half florets. As I said, this makes it quite quick and easy for the cooking once we get to that stage. And it also makes them a bit more even in a way when you're also cooking them. Just a little floret here. See, I've got a lot of broccoli there. You know, that's probably more than enough for me and another person, but I do like my broccoli. So, alright, once you've got your broccoli cut up, I'll just whack this meat inside the actual air fryer now. So, the meat going into the air fryer itself, you'll want to coat the air fryer with a bit of canola spray. And the reason for this, it stops the actual meat sticking. Even though you've got that marinade on, say that steak or whatever meat you've actually gone, the canola spray will just stop effectively any type of meat sticking to this. So you can see it pretty much dissipates pretty quickly in the actual air fryer pan itself. Let's grab these. Whack them in here. And what we'll do is we'll put that in the air fryer for the time being, and that will go on for 200 degrees. And we'll do 10 minutes for the first half. And I'll show you why when we come to that 10-minute mark. Alright, as you go through, clean up whatever you can effectively. So if you've got leftover plates, put them in your sink. You know, just clean up the actual space that you're working in. This is kind of like a cook's little, I guess, tip of it all. So we wash the hands again because we've touched the meat. So, as I said, obviously always touching that and make sure you clean your hands. So, moving on to the actual broccoli itself. So, what you want to do is you want to get, once you've chopped up all your broccoli, you've chopped them into the little florets and then chop the florets in half. You'll then grab a quarter of a cup of water. You'll pour this into the actual, a bigger bowl itself. You'll grab your broccoli. And just do half at a time where you can, effectively. What you'll do, and I like this one myself, so you can buy this in Woolworths and Coles and stuff like that in the herb bowl also. This is a garlic and herb all natural seasoning. So it's mainly just garlics, it's got some other little herbs in there like coriander, onion, black pepper, paprika. The other one you can do, if you don't want to buy the garlic and herb, we all got salt and pepper in home, so grab your salt, pepper, and what you want to do, I'll use my garlic and herb one for the time being because I love the taste of this and it's healthy. So roughly, usually about an actual tablespoon in that whole, I guess, quarter of a cup of water. You can do it in half batches at a time, which I prefer. Once you kind of know roughly what a tablespoon is, I've cooked broccoli enough times like this that I can rough guesstimate it. And the reason we're dipping in the water is that gives it a bit more basis for when you're cooking effectively this broccoli. It won't just turn into that crispy charred type broccoli, because it has a very strong taste if you cook broccoli by itself without kind of, I guess, any extra little flavours. It has a very kind of a bitter taste to it, most people will find. So I'll whack this last little half bit. And just give it a good toss around in the actual bowl itself. Once you've done that, as I said, clean away anything that you're not using anymore. So in this instance, chopping board, just get rid of it. Alright, so we've got our broccoli. We're now going to heat up the actual pan itself. So we'll get this bad boy cranking with some heat. This one heats up pretty quick because it is gas. And we want to start this off on a low heat. So start off on a low heat. You don't want to have a lot, roughly about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I use extra virgin olive oil, as I said, just because of that taste. You can just use olive oil itself though. And this one will heat up pretty quick because it's gas, so be cognizant obviously between electric and gas when you're cooking. The gas ones do heat up very quick. I turned on the lowest heat. You'll see why with the broccoli. You don't want to burn and char it too quickly effectively because you still want to cook a bit more of that, I guess, the inner and make it a bit softer on that broccoli. Hey Don, how you going, mate? So I'm just going to fill up another roughly 1/4 of a cup of water, and you'll see why when we're going to use this throughout cooking. This will be used roughly about halfway through for this broccoli, and I'll just provide a bit more of that kind of water steam effect for it, so it does steam up the actual middle of these, so you're not just biting into a crunchy broccoli itself, and it's not just burnt. So. As I said, you can just use salt and pepper for the actual broccoli itself. I like the garlic and herb blend itself that you can buy, just because it gives it quite a nice taste to it. Roughly for those, I guess, 2 bunches of broccoli itself, they're broken down into all those florets. It's roughly between 2 and 3 tablespoons, depending kind of what texture and taste you like. This is all natural seasoning, so it doesn't have all those nasties and stuff in there. Cost, I believe, roughly about $4 for the actual seasoning itself, and that will last you a fair while, depending how you use it, obviously. Alright, so we're starting to get a bit of heat in the actual pan itself. So what we want to do, we've got our cut up floral broccolis. And you will see this. Oh, she's sizzling. And what you want to do is you want to cook it roughly for about 2 minutes. So you want to try and get some nice kind of, I guess, that little bit of charring on the outside of broccoli. So we'll cook this for 2 minutes. Stirring it regularly, so that way you're getting a nice even kind of coating effectively on your broccoli. You can just use a normal fry pan for this. This is just a little bit bigger, almost like saucepan. You know, if you've got a wok, you use a wok, but that's obviously a lot more time consuming because it takes more, I guess, time to heat up the actual wok and stuff like that. And you want to start these off on the lowest heat you can effectively. So on an actual gas oven, because it heats up really quick, you definitely want to start on low. For our electric oven, low to kind of the low medium heat. So probably about 2-3 clicks in for the actual electric. So you want to try and get that nice, the reason we're stirring around, we want to try and get that nice kind of browning effectively on each broccoli, just to start off with. So that way it'll give you some nice crispy broccoli on the outside, but very soft on the actual inside. And you can whack other stuff in while you're doing this, for example. So if you want to throw in green beans, you want to whack in some capsicum and stuff like that, you can cook them in the same at the same time. They don't take as well to our next step with the water and stuff like that for the steaming effect. You can do it. I'd probably recommend doing them separately though, in another separate pan though, if you're cooking say something that doesn't take too well to steaming, your capsicums and stuff like that. Green beans are fine when you're steaming, they're alright. So roughly 2 to 3 minutes, just keep stirring around, get that broccoli going. You'll smell that fresh broccoli, you know. Obviously, it can bring back some traumatizing experiences if you're a kid, say, and you know, when you used to see those, I guess, the broccoli on your plate that mum and dad put on your plate, or you know, your Brussels sprouts, whatever it may have been. That's pretty evened out. And while we just wait for that, just to cook probably another minute roughly, our steak's pretty much ready for the actual first half. So the way you want to time steak roughly, you know, we do have our actual temperature thermometer, but that will depend on how you want your steak. So whether you want it kind of medium rare, medium, well done. These so we don't get too much browning on one side. Alright, so we'll leave that a second. Alright, so our steak's pretty much done for the first half. So we'll turn this bad boy over. And what we want to do is we'll cook this one for another 5 minutes. So you want to turn it halfway through in the air fryer. You don't want to cook it all on that one side. Alright, we'll leave that go. Alright, we're getting some nice kind of brownish colours effectively on our broccoli here. So you'll know, once you start seeing, I guess, let me try and show you some of this. Once you see some nice kind of rough browning on the outside of your broccoli, I don't know how well you can see that, but you'll see some kind of crispy, I guess, browning on the outside of your broccoli. Once you start seeing that pretty much across the board on most of your broccoli, you want to go ahead and add 1/4 cup of water into this. And this gives it kind of a steam effect. Yes, it will pick up a fair bit here. And on gas, you can pretty much just leave the actual cooking temperature on low to, well, pretty much on low the whole time. You don't want to really go above because it does heat up very quick. And it keeps that heat pretty good, I dare say. Electric ovens are a little bit, I guess, hit and miss, I dare say, compared. They take a lot longer to heat up. You'll probably want these on low to medium heat and keep it on that effectively. So we're getting some delicious smells coming out of this actual broccoli, which you never thought you'd hear someone say. So you don't want to get too mushy. So you know, you want to be careful about making your broccoli. A lot of people will cook it too long and it will turn very mushy on your actual broccoli itself. So you don't want that occurring. And see, these are turning out quite nice and soft. And before it gets, once you see one of them starting to go like a little bit mushy itself, take it off the heat and we'll plate him up in a minute. I'll save some of that broccoli for later. Usually I wouldn't recommend, usually you want to pretty much eat all the broccoli in one hit. I did cook a bit too much broccoli in this one hit effectively though, because steaks still are quite big. While you've got your actual air fryer cooking, it takes roughly, I said, about 8 to 10 minutes roughly each side, depending on the type of cut that you got. If you're rocking effectively, if you've got roughly about a 350 to 400 grams, say, rump or eye fillet, and you've got some nice marble, you effectively want to cook it roughly about 10 minutes each side in the air fryer. And that would roughly equate to around, it'd probably be about medium rare steak. Obviously, if you've got smaller cuts like your pork scotch fillets and stuff like that, where you buy the multi-packs and they come in 4-packs, and they're about 200 grams each one, you roughly only want to cook those for about kind of 7 minutes each side. Each meat has a different temperature that you kind of want to ideally be at, and I'll show you why effectively. So you can pick up these for about $5 from Kmart themselves. They're just a meat thermometer itself. So find a meat thermometer, $5 from Kmart. You can buy them from Woolies, Coles, pretty much majority of stores themselves. Google will tell you the ideal temperatures for your different meats and stuff like that. For beef, for medium rare, roughly if you like a medium rare, you want roughly between the 55 to 58 degree mark roughly. That's for a medium rare. So the meat thermometer does come in real handy, obviously for your steaks, your pork loin chops and stuff like that. I've let my broccoli cool down a little bit here, and these are perfectly fine to eat now. So I'll wait a few minutes for my steak. It's roughly got about 4 minutes. Hey Sunday, how you going, mate? Yeah, definitely Chef Harro today, mate. So just going through the ingredients for those late to join us. So one of the best blends that I found myself, and I was lucky enough to be mates with plenty of actual ADF cooks and stuff in my time, and also work alongside them and helping them out and stuff like that also, was this Masterfoods Seasoning All-Purpose Blend. Now the ingredients actually in it itself, you can make a lot of stuff at home and effectively, but this brings it all together in a kind of one big power hit for taste and flavour. And it's a universal one. You can use it on chicken, beef, pork, any kind of meat you think of, you can pretty much use this on it. Obviously not your sausage and stuff like that, but any other type of meat you can pretty much use it on, and it brings out an actual awesome kind of rub taste on it. Awesome flavour. So it's mainly just made up of paprika, garlic, onion, peppers. It's got like different coriander seeds, cumin, a little bit of chili, cloves. So it's all those kind of herbs mixed in one big power package. You can make that stuff at home. What we've done with our broccoli itself is we've mixed in the actual garlic and herb blend. This is roughly about $4 from Coles or Woolies. I really like it on my vegetables. It's an all natural seasoning. Often you'll find, especially with kids, because I got kids, they don't like your broccoli, your green beans and stuff like that. It has a very kind of powerful taste to it for their taste buds. As adults we can stomach it. For kids, not so much effectively, and they go, we don't want to eat this tree because it resembles a tree obviously. You get something like this, or if you get the pepper and salt, roughly about half a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons effectively on that. mixed in with the actual water. We used a quarter of a cup, initially for the blend, and then as we're cooking, roughly about after 3 minutes, you'll throw in another quarter of a cup of water, and that just makes it steam. And these will now be nice and kind of, I guess, nice and soft in the middle, but they still have that nice crunchy on the outside. We've still got 2 minutes for our steak, but I'll give these a whirl and give my little taste review effectively on them. They taste delicious. So you'll notice you've done it right. If the middle is still nice and soft, you got that nice crunchy outer coat of it effectively. So I'll try and show you some where I can. So it's got that bit of kind of, you'll see it going crispy on the outside almost. It's hard to see. I'll move this back a bit. It's hard to see. You'll see it kind of going crispy, but that tastes absolutely brilliant. That's something that as I said, trying to get the kids also to eat the greens and stuff like that in the family environment, that's a big step. Adding those little all natural flavors effectively to them, and they're very cheap all natural flavors, adding that to it can be light and day for kids loving vegetables, to be honest. So that's absolutely brilliant. And broccoli's, as I said, the reason for broccoli is it is a powerhouse itself. It's an antioxidant. It's got minimal amount of protein. It's roughly about 3 grams of protein, say. But the antioxidant hit is what you're after effectively for the broccoli. It is one of those power veggies, power fruits, what do I want to call them? But, So I'm just enjoying this broccoli too much. It's actually delicious. So, but yeah, the broccoli is roughly about $3 for kind of I guess roughly about a kilo. You probably need for probably about 2 of them for a family of say 4. 2 bunches. Need half a kilo roughly, and you make that kind of mix in the garlic and herb on the broccoli itself for your steaks or your chickens and stuff like that. Whatever kind of, if you want to just use salt and pepper, that's fine too. But you're seasoning all purpose. For my steak itself, I made a bit of a marinade because it soaks up the middle a bit better. I used quarter a cup of soy sauce, quarter a cup of balsamic vinegar, and roughly 2 tablespoons of the all-purpose seasoning mixed in, and then effectively let that soak. If you can let it soak overnight on the steaks, for example, awesome. If you can only let it soak in the morning, that's fine too. The big tip though is for your steaks, try and bring it out of that marinade before you do cook it, to try and reduce the temperature of your steak to somewhat room temperature. So that way you get a nice even cook throughout your steak. So we'll bring out our steak in a second. I'll get my chopping board so we can test the actual meat. Got that. Alright, so our steak's cooked in the air fryer now. You can cook these obviously on the barbecue, but this is an easy cooking session. So the reason for this, you can pretty much use an air fryer to cook anything. I'll show you that with even a kind of prime selection of a meat effectively, in relation to a ribeye fillet here. You can literally use an air fryer to cook any meat, chicken, pork scotch fillets. And when I'm super busy throughout the daytime, I'll just use the air fryer. If I've got pork scotch fillets in there, for example, I'll take out a few pork scotch fillets, whack on a little bit of seasoning, whack it in the air fryer. As I said, the pork scotch fillets are usually a little bit less. They're roughly about the 15-minute mark to cook. And then you got a nice, healthy, protein-filled lunch. Easy to go, very minimal effort, very easy to clean up after. As I said, we are very time poor. Whether you're working, studying, medical, family reasons, whatever it may be. A lot of these aspects combined do make us very time poor in life. So wherever you can save time but still be very healthy and nutritious throughout that, that's a big step. Alright, let me just get a little bit more broccoli. That is some good broccoli. So, as I said, roughly, with your meat from on, if you want medium rare, yeah, you can roast it too in the oven. You can. The The oven takes a little bit longer, obviously, to cook them, depending on your meats and stuff like that. If it's a steak, you can char grill the outside of it in a pan first and then throw it in the oven, so it cooks the inside of it. But the oven does take a bit longer. The reason I love the air fryer, it's a bit cheaper on electricity, not only that, but obviously the time-consuming factors. Can cook a lot of stuff. Going into meats anyway, get your meat from Monta, and these are definitely worth to have. You usually don't need meat, obviously. For your different temperatures of your meats and stuff like that, use Google, obviously, to find out what's recommended. I know on steaks, though, usually medium rare is roughly between the 55 to kind of 57, 58 degree mark. Anything around that kind of 60 degree, like 59, 60, you're starting to hit the kind of, I guess, a bit more above a medium rare. So just sticking your meat thermometer itself in the middle of the actual steak. The temperature will climb. So this one's sitting just a little bit where I'd like it. So realistically, I'd probably do 2 minutes less on the actual air fryer. So this one's sitting at 59.60, roughly. Usually I like it sitting between that 55, 58 kind of mark, just so you see that red and stuff like that. But that's still a very good steak itself though. So we'll chop this up and show you the inside of it. I'll move these over. I'll eat my broccoli very shortly because that is absolutely delicious, that broccoli itself. But what you can do, obviously we've tested our temperature itself. It's given our temperature so we know it's cooked to how we like it. And that's the main reason obviously for the meat thermometer, to make sure one, it's cooked on the inside, but two, also how you like it or how the family likes it. And I'll just show you the inside of it and then I'll get into eating a bit later, obviously. That's gone a bit more above medium rare effectively, and that's why it's showing that 59.60. So you will show that's inside. So reduce that roughly by about 2 minutes. That's probably about 2 minutes overdone to how I like it effectively. Usually I like it being, a fair bit of pinkness in there effectively. Yes, I'm not one of those carnivores that I guess eats wild meat, wild game meat whilst uncooked, but I do like a medium rare steak. So anyway, that's how you cook effectively a steak, broccoli, your veggies and stuff like that with very minimal time frames. And these are very easy cook options. You can do this with pork chops. You can even do it with salmon, for example. The salmon you can whack straight into the actual air fryer. As I said, the times differ, but depending on what type of meats and stuff they are, use Google to determine what meats and how long to cook in an air fryer. But that's an absolute awesome cook up for roughly about 25, 30 minutes. So what we got there? Yeah, roughly about 30 minutes. We obviously chopped up all our ingredients and stuff like that. You can buy them pre-chopped up if you don't want to, say, chop up your own veggies and stuff like that. You can whack anything in with your veggies also at the same time. As I said, take note when you're steaming them. Certain kind of veggies don't take, well effect to steam in, say, a broccoli and green bean meal, like capsicum, for example. Doesn't hit that well. So what I'll do is I'll show you some other quick little options. So if you're in the workplace and stuff like that, I'll show you some quick little options effectively. And I'll walk around here. I want to show you effectively. I believed in. I was a big believer in taking out lunches from home into workplace, because you wouldn't want to go, say, frontline or anything like that, because it costs you an arm and a leg for one. Generally, it's unhealthy. All right, I'll show you these. So these are just some of the little options that you can choose as snacks effectively throughout. And I'll grab one more in a second, actually. So what we have here is, I'll show you this one first. This is a Tupperware container. So if you don't want to, say, cook on the stovetop, because you don't have that 30 minutes spare, or you just don't like cooking, whatever it may be, you can buy one of these. You fill it up with water, put your veggies on top, whack that in, put that in your microwave, and that steams your veggies for you effectively. As I said, that's if you're extremely time poor or whatever it may be, you just don't want to get behind the cooking utensils. You can buy these Tupperware containers. So all these other little aspects that you can still actually get healthy veggies without having to go in and chop up and do all the other stuff that you want to do, you know what I mean? So, other little snacks and stuff like that throughout. I've always been a big fan of, say, walnuts, you know, your pecan nuts, your Brazil nuts, obviously. These are great things to snack on when you get the munchies, even with gaming and stuff like that. So, you know, instead of picking up the Doritos or Twisties, whatever it may be, that packet of chips. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all get our munchies every now and again while we're gaming, you know. We see that pack of Twisties, whatever it may be, but instead of getting that Twisties packet, you know, buy some peanuts, buy some nuts, even some of those healthy alternative chips that you find in those healthy aisles. They quite regularly go on sale in Woolworths and Coles, like almost weekly. They differ between them. You can pick up some actual really good, tasty, healthier chips this day and age. Don't get me wrong, they've still got some unhealthy natures, but they're a lot healthier than, say, Twisties, Doritos, and all the other crap that goes on. Now, salmon. I'm a big fan of salmon and tunas. I used to take these to lunch daily and stuff like that. Very cheap, easy lunches, and I'll show you why. So, you can pretty much buy this for roughly, this cost me about $1.40 for the actual can itself. Usually tuna you can buy on sale for $1. You can buy wraps for roughly about $3-4. What you do, these are probiotic ones obviously. This was about $4 for what? We've got 6 large wraps here. This for $4, $1.20. You buy that. Easy lunch sorted, and I'll show you another little pickup quickly. I'm just going through my... Let's go through my little fridge here. One of the other ones I love, and where's my last one I love? Ah, here we go. Yes. I'll show you these. Alright, so the other one we love, obviously, the blueberries. So, I know they don't go on sale all year long and stuff like that. These are another antioxidant powerhouse. You know, a handful of these. I know they don't quench your hunger and stuff like that, but those mixed in with, say, nuts and other things while you're getting those munchies, they do feel those cravings. They do feel them. Oh, no, trust me on that. As I said, with the tuna or salmon, what I used to do on a daily occurrence is I'd get, you know, salmon or tuna overall. In this case, salmon though. I'd usually get the superfood slaw mix itself. And what you can do, you can either make wraps itself or you can make a salad. So you pour that in roughly about 1/3 of that, or like pretty much like a quarter or a half, depending on how much kind of salad you want. And in this has 4 servings of veggies per pack. So you're getting one serving of veggies if you use a quarter of that, for example. You mix that in with your tuna on top and mix that in. It tastes absolutely delicious. All salmon in this case. You can also put that on your wrap, as I said, or make your salads. There's other alternatives effectively also. You can get your grilled chicken. You can whack it in your wraps. You can mix some of this salad in there so you're getting your veggie mix in there. It tastes absolutely delicious. It's not costing you, say, you know, $12 from Frontline for a bloody wrap. It's costing you, what? This cost about $4 for the superfood mix, $1 for the can. I think they were about $4 for 6 wraps by themselves. So, you know, and that's 4, say, lunches there, roughly. You know, you're saving a matcha, put it that way. So they're the little kind of lunch options. You can do that with grilled chicken also. So if you want to, say, grill your chicken up and then reheat it, effectively, you know what I mean, make sure it's well reheated though, like it's actually properly cooked. Then you can whack it on the actual wrap itself, get your superfoods, whack that on. You've made your own wrap. Easy options, takes no time at all. Anyway, I'm going to rip into my steak. I hope you have loved the actual stream. Remember, nutrition is very important. You know, I understand we all love our takeaway every now and again. You know, that's just a beast of nature. But, you know, mix it in. So don't just be buying takeaway lunches every day or dinners and stuff like that. Mix in your veggies. Get these antioxidants going. You know, you got these easy options that take no time at all. Mix it into your pretty much your routine. You know, and your family will uptake also on their veggie levels, you know. As I said, making that broccoli delicious with those little extra herbs and flavorings that still make it absolute delicious, but still nutritious and value. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed the actual stream itself. Thank you all for watching along. And we will have Peanut later in the week, I believe tomorrow, for another Veteran Health Week cooking stream for the Elder Scrolls Online Cookbook. This was a steak, broccoli, and showing you around the actual kitchen space itself for easy kind of options for both lunch and dinner. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and hope you all have a brilliant week and wonderful week ahead.